Planning a trip to Rome? Before you pack your bags or book a tour, watch this video, because what you choose to see, and when you see it, can make or break your experience. We're counting down 10 unforgettable things to do in Rome, from ancient wonders to hidden gems, with insider tips to help you skip the lines, dodge the crowds, and experience the eternal city like a local. The Colosseum. Step into the arena of legends. No trip to Rome is complete without standing face-to-face with its most iconic landmark, the Colosseum. It's not just a building, it's a time machine. Standing here, you're walking in the footsteps of emperors, gladiators, and 50,000 roaring spectators. Opened in 80 AD by Emperor Titus with 100 days of bloody games, the Colosseum became the heart of Roman entertainment and power. This vast arena saw gladiator duels, wild animal hunts, and public executions. In the mornings, leopards and lions. By midday, condemned criminals met their fate. And in the afternoon, the main event, two men fighting for honor, freedom, and sometimes their lives. Today, much of the original structure still stands, from the stone archways and tiered seating to the hidden marvel below, the 𝐲𝐻𝐿, an underground labyrinth where animals and fighters awaited their moment. With a guided underground tour, you'll see the trapdoors, lifts, and dark corridors that brought the arena to life. Want to go even deeper? Opt for arena floor access. Standing there, with ancient stone rising all around you, you don't just see history, you feel it. Visitor tips you need to know. Tickets are required to enter the interior, and demand is huge. Book online well in advance. The best value combo ticket includes access to the Colosseum, Roman Forum, and Palatine Hill, all walkable and part of the same archaeological zone. Want more? Look for tours that include the Mamertine Prison or even Trajan's Markets nearby. Opening hours shift with the seasons, but doors usually open by 8:30 or 9 a.m. and close before sunset. The last entry is typically an hour before closing. What to bring when visiting the Colosseum? Water bottle. There are fountains to refill nearby. Comfortable shoes. Uneven ancient stones are part of the charm and the workout. Sunscreen and a hat, especially in summer. The ancient Romans had the velarium, a giant canvas sunshade. You don't. No food is sold on site, so eat beforehand or plan a lunch stop in the Monte district just behind the ruins, a hidden gem for local eats. The best way to get to the Colosseum. The Colosseum sits in the heart of the city, right next to Colosseo metro station Line B. You can also walk from the Trevi Fountain or Piazza Venezia in under 15 minutes. And while you're there, don't miss the Arch of Constantine, standing tall right beside the Colosseum, a silent tribute to victory carved in stone. 2,000 years ago, this place echoed with the roar of the crowd. Today, it's your turn to stand in the arena and be amazed. Want to skip the lines and see the hidden spots? Scan the QR code on the screen for recommended tours, arena floor access, and the best guided tours Rome has to offer when visiting the Colosseum. The Vatican Museums and Sistine Chapel. Art, faith, and Michelangelo's masterpiece. Step across the border into the smallest country in the world and enter one of the greatest treasure troves of human creativity. Welcome to Vatican City, home to the Pope, the Catholic Church, and the Vatican Museums. With over 7 kilometers of galleries, 26 museums, and more than 20,000 artworks on display, this is Rome's most visited museum complex. And for good reason. From ancient Roman statues and Egyptian mummies, to rooms dripping with Renaissance glory, the Vatican Museums are a pilgrimage for art lovers. And at the heart of it all, the Sistine Chapel, a room so sacred it literally decides who becomes the next pope. This is where you'll find Michelangelo's legendary ceiling, painted in the early 1500s, with dramatic scenes like the creation of Adam and the flood. Look behind the altar and you'll see the Last Judgment, where souls rise or fall in a divine whirlwind of color and emotion. The silence is strict, the room is sacred. And photography? Strictly forbidden. But trust us, your memory will do just fine. What else shouldn't you miss? The Raphael rooms with frescoes like the School of Athens, the haunting 𝐲𝐴𝐽 sculpture, straight from ancient Rome. The Map Gallery, where 16th century Italy comes to life in vivid blues and greens. And if you're into legends, don't miss Nero's bathtub or the dramatic spiral staircase at the exit. What you need to know when planning your visit. Enter via Viale Vaticano, not St. Peter's Square. The nearest metro stop is Cipro, Line A, followed by a 10 to 15-minute uphill walk. Reserve your ticket online. Seriously, lines can be hours long, and popular time slots sell out fast. A standard ticket includes the Sistine Chapel and starts from around 20 to 32 euros. Pro tip: use only official websites or trusted platforms to avoid overpriced resellers. Opening hours are usually Monday-Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., last entry at 4 p.m. Closed Sundays, except the last Sunday of each month when entry is free. But be warned, it gets very crowded. Dress code is strict. No bare shoulders, no shorts above the knee, and definitely no flip-flops. Big backpacks? You'll need to check them in at security. How much time do you need to plan for this visit? A visit can easily take half a day or more, especially in peak season. Wear comfortable shoes, bring water, and pace yourself. Or better yet, consider a guided tour with skip-the-line access and insights you won't find on signs. Want a smooth visit? Book a guided tour. Honestly, it's a must, because otherwise, you'll miss half the story. The Vatican museums are vast and overwhelming. 54 rooms, thousands of artworks, and barely any explanations on the walls. A good guide brings the history to life, shows you the hidden gems, and helps you skip the line. It's not just a museum, it's a journey through 2,000 years of belief, beauty, and breathtaking ambition. And as you leave through the spiral staircase, one thing becomes clear. This isn't just art. This is the soul of Western civilization. Enjoying this video so far? Then don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We've got plenty more need-to-know tips about Rome, so you can explore smarter, skip the stress, and make the most of your trip. St. Peter's Basilica, the heart of Christianity. No matter what brings you to Rome, art, history, or faith, few places in the world leave a deeper impression than St. Peter's Basilica. Located in Vatican City, this is the largest church in the world, built on what is believed to be the tomb of St. Peter himself. Its massive dome dominates the skyline, and inside, every detail is designed to inspire awe. It took over 120 years to build, with contributions from legends like Bramante, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Bernini. Michelangelo's dome rises 136 meters into the sky, a masterpiece of Renaissance engineering and one of the tallest in the world. Inside, don't miss Michelangelo's Pietà, sculpted when he was just 24 years old. It's tucked away in the first chapel on the right and is the only work he ever signed. Stand beneath Bernini's bronze canopy, more than 28 meters tall, above the high altar, and beneath that, the tomb of St. Peter. Look up at the golden ceiling. Look around at the grand inscriptions running along the base of the dome. They aren't just decoration, they're scripture. They mark the very foundation of the Catholic Church. The basilica is full of treasures, from papal tombs and sacred relics to the bronze statue of St. Peter, whose foot has been worn smooth by centuries of pilgrims. Admission is free, but be prepared. The line can stretch for hours. The best time to visit is just after the doors open at 7 in the morning. Security is faster, the light is beautiful, and the square is peaceful. The dress code is strict. Shoulders and knees must be covered, and entry will be refused if you're dressed inappropriately, even on the hottest summer day. For an unforgettable view, climb the dome. You can take a lift part way, but the final 320 steps must be climbed on foot. The staircase narrows into a tight spiral, but the reward is unbeatable: a full panorama over Vatican City and the rooftops of Rome. Guided tours are strongly recommended. Not only do they help you skip the long lines, but they also reveal the deeper stories behind the art and architecture, stories that are easily missed when walking alone. If you're lucky enough to be there on a Wednesday, The Pope may be giving his weekly audience in St. Peter's Square. On Sundays at noon, he usually appears at the window of his study to offer a blessing to the crowd below. The square itself, designed by Bernini, is a marvel of urban planning. The massive colonnades seem to embrace visitors as they enter, and at sunrise or sunset, the light gives the stone a golden glow you won't forget. St. Peter's Basilica is more than just a building. It's a symbol of centuries of belief, a stage for history, and a place where countless visitors, from popes to pilgrims, have stood in silent wonder. And when you're there, you'll understand why. Want to make the most of your time in Rome? Download our free travel guide, packed with everything you need to know for a smooth, inspiring, and unforgettable visit during the Jubilee year. Just scan the QR code on your screen or click the link in the description below. Roman Forum. Walk through the heart of ancient Rome. This is where it all began. Long before St. Peter's, or the Vatican, this valley between Rome's famous hills was the true center of power. The Roman Forum, or Forum Romanum, was the beating heart of the ancient empire. Political debates, religious rituals, trials, markets, parades, everything that defined Roman life happened right here. What started as a swamp was drained in the 7th century BC and over time became the epicenter of Roman civilization. Temples, basilicas, and arches rose up, monuments to gods, emperors, and ambition. After the empire fell, the Forum faded into obscurity and was eventually used as a pasture. For centuries, locals called it Campo Vaccino, the cow field. Today, you can walk along the Via Sacra, the sacred road, where victorious generals once paraded. You'll pass the ruins of the Temple of Saturn, the Arch of Septimius Severus, and the House of the Vestal Virgins. At the rostrum, or speaker's platform, Julius Caesar's body is said to have been laid to rest. Give yourself time. This place is much bigger than it seems. A visit can take several hours, especially if you want to take in the nearby Palatine Hill and the Colosseum, all part of the same archaeological zone. Tickets are required, usually in the form of a combined pass that includes the Forum, the Palatine Hill, and the Colosseum. These are best booked online in advance, as same-day entry can be limited. There's little shade inside, and no food or drinks are sold, so bring water, wear comfortable shoes, and avoid the hottest hours of the day. You'll find public fountains to refill your bottle. If you want to truly understand what you're seeing, a guided tour or audio guide is highly recommended. The ruins are stunning, but the information signs are minimal, and the real stories live in the details. Looking for the best view? Head up to the Capitoline Hill. From there, you can see the entire Forum stretched out like an ancient map. Columns, arches, and broken walls silently telling the story of a fallen empire. Even if you don't step inside, much of the Forum can be seen from the street above. But walking through it, with history underfoot and centuries rising around you, that's something else entirely. The Pantheon, Rome's temple of perfection. In the heart of modern Rome stands a building that has defied time itself. The Pantheon, nearly 2,000 years old, is the best preserved monument of ancient Rome. And once you step inside, you'll understand why. Originally built by Marcus Agrippa in 27 BC, the temple was later rebuilt under Emperor Hadrian after fire destroyed the earlier structure. The inscription on the front still credits Agrippa, a deliberate nod to the city's roots. What makes the Pantheon truly extraordinary is its architecture. The dome is a masterpiece of ancient engineering, still the world's largest unreinforced concrete dome. Its diameter is exactly equal to its height, 44.4 meters. Perfect symmetry, perfect balance. At the top, the oculus, a circular opening nearly 9 meters wide, floods the interior with light. There's no glass. When it rains, water pours in, but a hidden drainage system in the marble floor carries it away silently. The effect? It's magical. Rain or shine, the oculus connects this sacred space directly with the sky. Since the year 608, The Pantheon has served as a church. Its official name is Santa Maria ad Martires, and yes, it still holds services today. Inside, the atmosphere is serene. You'll find the tombs of Italy's first kings and the painter Raphael, who requested to be buried in the place of the gods. There's not much activity, just beauty, silence, and a sense of awe that builds as you look up. The Pantheon is located on Piazza della Rotonda, just a few minutes' walk from Piazza Navona and the Trevi Fountain. The nearest metro stop is Barberini, about an 8-minute walk. Since July 2023, entrance is no longer free. Standard tickets cost €5. You can buy them at the door, but to avoid waiting, book online. Fast-track options and audio guide bundles are also available, starting from €11. Opening hours are generally from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., with the last entry half an hour before closing. It's closed on January 1st and December 25th. As with all active churches in Rome, there's a dress code. No bare shoulders, no shorts above the knee, no hats inside. Treat the space with respect. If you can, visit early in the morning to enjoy the silence, or come just before sunset, when the golden light pours through the oculus and the dome seems to glow from within. And before you leave, grab a gelato from nearby 𝐲𝐨𝐿 or an espresso from 𝐲𝐻𝐿, two Roman legends just around the corner. The Pantheon has stood for centuries. It was once a temple for all gods. Today, it remains a temple for all who seek beauty, symmetry, and silence in the middle of a restless city. The Trevi Fountain. Throw a coin, make a wish. Tucked away in the narrow streets of Rome's historic center lies a fountain that's more famous than most monuments. The Trevi Fountain. Baroque, theatrical, and absolutely unforgettable. This is the largest and most iconic fountain in Rome. Its name, Trevi, comes from Trevia, the place where three ancient streets once met. Today, it's where thousands of visitors gather every hour to admire, photograph, and make a wish. Built between 1732 and 1762 on the orders of Pope Clement XII, the fountain rises nearly 30 meters high and stretches over 50 meters wide. It's set against the rear wall of the Palazzo Poli, with a central figure riding a seashell chariot pulled by two winged horses, one calm, one wild, symbolizing the moods of the sea. Some say the god is Neptune, others Oceanus. Either way, it's spectacular. Water flows from the ancient Aqua Virgo aqueduct, the same source that fed ancient Roman baths. And beneath the cobblestones, 9 meters below, lies an underground museum with ruins from the Roman city, including the channels that once brought water here. There's a tradition at the fountain. Throw 1 coin to ensure your return to Rome, 2 to fall in love, 3 to get married, or, depending on who you ask, divorced. But don't just toss it in any old way. Stand with your back to the fountain, eyes closed, right hand over your left shoulder. Every day, around €4,000 is thrown into the water, nearly €1.4 million a year, all collected and donated to charities that support Roman families in need. The fountain is free to visit, and it's open day and night, but it gets very crowded, sometimes more than 1,000 visitors per hour. For the best experience, come early in the morning or late in the evening, just as the lights begin to glow and the crowds start to thin. Since 2024, there's a new access control system in place during the day, between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m., with a break for cleaning on Monday mornings. Expect lines, but the experience is better. Fewer people, more space. Like all busy places in Rome, be cautious. Pickpockets know this is a tourist hotspot, and while it's tempting to wade in or sit on the edge, don't. Fines are steep, and the local police are watching. If you have time, visit Vicus Caprarius, the underground ruins just behind the fountain, or follow the short walk to Piazza Barberini to see Bernini's Triton Fountain. The Trevi Fountain isn't just a photo stop. It's a ritual, a memory, a piece of cinematic history, and if you toss in that coin, don't be surprised if you find yourself back here one day. Piazza Navona, Rome's living Baroque stage. Piazza Navona is more than just a square. It's a stage, a place where Rome's ancient past and lively present meet, in full view of fountains, facades, and street performers. The square was once a Roman stadium, built by Emperor Domitian in the 1st century for athletic competitions. Its elongated shape? A leftover from the original track, which could seat up to 20,000 spectators. Today, it's surrounded by cafes instead of crowds, but the energy is still the same. At the center stands Bernini's Fountain of the Four Rivers, a dramatic sculpture representing the Nile, the Danube, the Ganges, and the Rio de la Plata, each one carved with animals, plants, and symbols of their continent. Rising above it, an Egyptian obelisk reaches toward the sky. At the north and south ends, you'll find 2 more fountains, the Neptune Fountain and the Fountain of the Moor, both designed by Giacomo della Porta, a student of Michelangelo. Opposite the central fountain is the Church of Sant'Angelo in 𝐲𝐴Gone, with its Baroque facade and calm interior. And lining the square, you'll see the grand Palazzo Pamphilj, commissioned by Pope Innocent X, and Palazzo Braschi, now home to the Museum of Rome. Beneath the cobblestones lies another secret, the ruins of Domitian's original stadium. 9 meters below street level, you can walk among ancient brickwork and see where Rome once cheered its athletes. Entry costs around €8.50, but more than its history, Piazza Navona is about atmosphere. It's one of Rome's most vibrant spaces, a place for sipping espresso, sketching portraits, watching musicians, and just soaking up the city's rhythm. Come in the evening, when the lights glow on the fountains and locals mix with visitors under the open sky. And in December, the square transforms into a bustling Christmas market, full of lights, stalls, and seasonal spirit. Getting here is easy. It's a short walk from the Pantheon, Campo dei Fiori, and the Largo Argentina bus stop. The nearest metro station is Spagna, about a kilometer away. A word of advice: skip the restaurants right on the square. For better food and fairer prices, explore the side streets. There are plenty of hidden gems just steps away. Piazza Navona is a place to wander, to rest, to take it all in. Baroque, beautiful, and bursting with life. This is Rome at its most relaxed and radiant. Castel Sant'Angelo, from Emperor's Tomb to Papal Fortress. Just a short walk from the Vatican stands one of Rome's most intriguing buildings, Castel Sant'Angelo, a fortress, a prison, a palace, and once, a tomb. It was built in the 2nd century as the final resting place of Emperor Hadrian. But over the centuries, this massive stone cylinder evolved into much more than a mausoleum. By the year 280, it became a military fortress. Later, during times of crisis, it served as a refuge for popes, who even built a secret escape tunnel connecting it to the Vatican. Its current name, Sant'Angelo, or Holy Angel, comes from a vision seen during a deadly plague. In 590, Pope Gregory I claimed he saw the Archangel Michael appear above the building, sheathing his sword, a sign that the plague was ending. A bronze statue of the angel still stands at the top today. Inside, you can wander through 6 floors of twisting corridors, ancient prison cells, papal apartments, and grand halls covered in Renaissance frescoes. There's even a spiral ramp from the original Roman design, still intact after nearly 2,000 years. Don't miss the rooftop terrace. From here, you get one of the most spectacular panoramic views in all of Rome, across the Tiber River, down the Via della Conciliazione, and toward the Dome of St. Peter's Basilica. The castle is connected to the city by the Ponte Sant'Angelo, a pedestrian bridge lined with 10 angel statues, each holding symbols of the Passion of Christ. Come here at sunset, when the golden light hits the stone, and the whole scene feels almost cinematic. Castel Sant'Angelo is open Tuesday through Sunday from 9 a.m. to 7:30 p.m., with the last entry at 6:30 p.m. It's closed on Mondays, January 1st, May 1st, and December 25th. Entry costs around €20.50 for adults, and only €4.50 for children. Tickets can sell out, so booking online is smart, especially in peak season. On the first Sunday of each month, entrance is free, though expect a line. If you want to dive deeper into the castle's hidden history, special guided tours are available, including access to areas normally closed to the public. You'll find Castel Sant'Angelo at 𝐲𝐻𝐿 di Castello 50. The closest metro stops are Lepanto or Ottaviano, both about a 15-minute walk. Less crowded than other landmarks, the castle offers a moment of calm and an incredible glimpse into the layers of Roman history, from imperial power to papal secrecy. And if the architecture looks familiar, you might have seen it in *𝐲𝐻𝐿 and Demons, where it played a starring role as the Illuminati's final hideout. The Spanish Steps, Rome's most elegant staircase. It's one of the most photographed spots in Rome, and probably the most stylish staircase in Europe. The Spanish Steps, or Scalinata della Trinità dei Monti, link the bustling Piazza di Spagna below to the quiet elegance of the French church, Trinità dei Monti, above. Built between 1723 and 1726 in Rococo style, the steps were commissioned by the French, but named after the square below. Home to the Spanish embassy in the 17th century, there are 135 steps arranged over 3 terraces, said to symbolize the Holy Trinity. And while it might just seem like a grand staircase, there's something undeniably cinematic about it. The views, the people, the rhythm of Roman life moving up and down the marble. At the base of the stairs sits the Fontana della Barcaccia, the ugly boat fountain, designed by Pietro Bernini. Legend says a small boat washed up here after the Tiber flooded in 1598. Today, it's a popular meeting point and a good place to cool off beside the gentle trickle of water. Climb to the top and you'll be rewarded with beautiful views over the rooftops and domes of the city. You can also visit the church itself, a calm and peaceful space with beautiful frescoes, far from the crowds below. Around the square, you'll find Via dei Condotti, one of Rome's most exclusive shopping streets, lined with designer boutiques and flagship stores. It's a good area to window shop, or just sit and people watch. The steps are especially lovely in spring, when they're covered with blooming azaleas, or on December 8th, when the Pope visits the statue of the Virgin Mary at the base for a traditional blessing. Getting here is easy. Just take Metro Line A to Spagna Station. The steps are right outside the exit. Nearby, you'll find Villa Borghese, the 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐭 house, Piazza del Popolo, and of course, the Trevi Fountain, only 10 minutes away on foot. Whether you climb them, rest on them, or just take a perfect photo from the bottom, the Spanish Steps aren't just something to see, they're something to experience. Villa Borghese and Galleria Borghese. Art, nature, and the perfect Roman escape. Need a break from Rome's busy streets? Head to Villa Borghese, a vast, elegant park where you can breathe, wander, and be surrounded by beauty. At its heart lies one of the city's greatest treasures, the Galleria Borghese. The estate began as the private vineyard of Cardinal Scipione Borghese in the early 1600s. He transformed it into a lush garden, then built a grand villa to house his personal art collection, a collection that would become one of the finest in the world. The park itself stretches over 80 hectares and feels like a living museum. Stroll past fountains, pavilions, and sculptures. Rent a rowboat on the quiet lake near the Temple of Asclepius. Explore Villa Giulia, home to Etruscan art, or Villa Medici, the French Academy in Rome. There's even a zoo and a modern art gallery within the grounds. From the Pincian Hill, you'll get sweeping views over Piazza del Popolo, and on clear days, all the way to St. Peter's. But the real crown jewel is inside the Galleria Borghese. In just 20 rooms, you'll find masterpieces by Bernini, Caravaggio, Raphael, Titian, and Canova. Highlights include Bernini's dramatic Apollo and Daphne, Canova's sensual Venus Victrix, and several of Caravaggio's most haunting works. The museum strictly limits entry, only 360 people every 2 hours, so you must book in advance. Tickets often sell out days ahead. Plan for at least 2 hours inside And if you can, choose a guided tour to fully appreciate the stories behind the art. Opening hours are Tuesday to Sunday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., with extended hours on Thursday evenings. The museum is closed on Mondays, as well as January 1st and December 25th. To get there, take Metroline A to Flaminio or Spagna. From the top of the Spanish Steps, it's just a short walk through the edge of the park. Villa Borghese is where art meets nature. One moment you're standing before a Bernini sculpture. The next, you're sitting under the trees with a gelato, listening to birdsong instead of traffic. It's not just a park, and it's not just a museum. It's a sanctuary, and the perfect place to end your Roman adventure. To get the most out of your visit, we strongly recommend booking a guided tour for most of these sites. Not only will you skip the lines, but you'll also discover stories and details that are easily missed when visiting on your own. In the description below, you'll find trusted links to the best guided tours, carefully selected for quality and reliability. Curious to explore more of Rome? Tap the video on your screen for another unforgettable Rome experience, or dive into our full Rome playlist for tips, hidden gems, and practical advice to plan your perfect trip. Don't forget to subscribe. We've got more travel stories coming your way.